Have you ever wondered how you attract certain things, certain people, and certain situations into your life?
On today's show, we're going to be talking about the law of vibration and how we manifest things into our life.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Awakening Your Spirit. We are your hosts. I'm Dr. Aaron Garcia.
And I'm Veronica Mendez-Garcia, and our show's about inspiration, motivation, and developing the mindset to live a happy and abundant life.
We are live here every Monday and Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time here on Facebook and also on YouTube. You want to join us on the show, make sure you subscribe to the show and click the notification button so you get reminded each time when we go live. Today on our show, we're talking about the law of vibration and how we bring and attract certain things into your life. If you want things to be different in your life or to improve, you're going to want to stay tuned and stick around because we're going to show you some great information here. So before we get into our topic of today, we always like to start off with our first segment of the show, which is our inspirational moment with Veronica.
So inspirational moments is when I like to read something inspirational. And because of our topic today, I figured it'd be a good idea to share a message from the book, The Secret. Let's see, there it is, by Rhonda Byrne. There's a lot of great information in this little book for those of you who haven't read it. I'm going to read a little paragraph from here. So it says, thoughts are magnetic and thoughts have a frequency. As you think, those thoughts are sent out to the universe and they magnetically attract all like things that are on the same frequency. Everything sent out returns to the source, and that source is you. Think of it this way. We understand that a television station's transmission tower broadcasts via a frequency which is transformed into pictures on your television. Most of us don't really understand how it works, but we know each channel has a frequency. And when we tune into that frequency, we see the pictures on our television. We choose the frequency by selecting the channel, and then we receive the pictures broadcast on that channel. If we want to see different pictures on our television, we change the channel and tune into a new frequency. You are a human transmission tower, and you are more powerful than any television tower created on Earth. You are the most powerful transmission tower in the universe. Your transmission creates your life, and it creates the world. The frequency you transmit reaches beyond cities, beyond countries, beyond the world. It reverberates throughout the entire universe, and you are transmitting that frequency with your thoughts.
Ooh. If you guys resonate with that and want to know more, stick around because we're going to talk about that in more detail. But if you enjoyed the inspirational moments, please give us your hearts, give us your thumbs up and likes here into the feed. And if you know that there's anybody that can benefit from the message of this show, please share the show because we always say we never know who this message is going to impact. So if you guys are joining in with us, make sure you say hello and into the feeds, the comments. Let us know where you're coming from. And if you're new to the show, type that in here to the feed, whether you're watching live or also on the replay. We'd love to hear from you guys. And if you have any questions, comments, type those here into the feed as we go through today's show. So I want to say hello to a few people joining in here. It says Roman Rodriguez says 3 magic words by ULS Anderson. And so thank you guys for joining in with us, and we'd love to hear from you guys.
And I also want to say hi to Prashant Sheth, Stephanie Mostovsky, and then Roman Rodriguez, who just joined us, Brent Ringut, and for all the other people who are watching on YouTube as well. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. So today we're talking about the law of vibration and understanding the law of vibration and how this all works. So we're talking about frequencies. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how have you looked at frequencies and just everything that we've been studying and experiencing in our life over the last few years?
Well, like the thing I just read from The Secret, it's like the channel that you're tuning into. So if you're tuning into maybe negativity and that type of thing, you're going to see more of that. If you're tuning your thoughts into more positive things, more positive thoughts, you're going to see more positivity in your life. So it's really adjusting your mind, your thoughts to what you want to see, and also how it makes you feel. So if you want to feel not so good, you tune into the negative channel and you'll feel not so good because, things that are negative don't really make you feel good. Mm-hmm. And you tune into the positive channel, then you start to feel good, and you see more good around you. So it's all your point of focus.
Yeah. And the secret is it's all about the law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
And the law of attraction has really been talked about for a very long time. It's even talked about in scripture, but it's been more popularized in the last 2 decades, since the early 2000s, by the book The Secret. But there was a lot of stuff that got misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
And people are thinking that with the law of attraction, I just think about what I want and it's going to come to me. But there's a lot that got missed within that concept. And we're talking about the law of vibration. It goes hand in hand with the law of attraction. And the law of vibrations is this. It means that everything vibrates and nothing rests. So this works in the whole entire universe. That's why they call it a universal law. That means that down at every cellular core level, every atomic structure, something is vibrating and moving. For us to transmit this signal to you, there's a vibration of frequencies and electrons and protons, and all this stuff is shooting out to you, so you guys can see and also hear us to where you're at. Your cells in your body, everything is constantly moving at a very slow rate. And even the table that we're at, the bookshelf behind us, everything has a frequency. There's movement there. You may not be able to see with the physical eye, but if you were to take it at a very powerful microscope, you would see that there's molecules actually vibrating and moving.
Yeah. So it's very interesting when you get to the molecular structure of everything. And but our thoughts, every thought that we have has so much power, and you're sending that signal out to the universe. And whatever frequency you're at, and that thought behind it, and the emotions that come behind it, you'll start to see things that will start to come to you regarding that thought. So sometimes you'll have maybe a song in your head, and you're singing the song over and over, and depending on what the song is, you might start to see things that you've been repeating over and over in your mind with that song.
Or that song pops up on the radio the moment you start thinking about it.
Exactly.
And I've had that happen multiple times. Even had those moments when you're thinking about somebody, or you're wanting to reach out and call, and it's in that moment where they text you or they call you just as you're thinking about them, because something they were thinking about you at the same time. And at that point, there was a resonance, meaning the vibrations, the frequencies were perfectly aligned up. And that's what brought that into fruition. And so our thoughts are very powerful. Our thoughts also vibrate on a frequency, just like a radio signal. Is those frequencies, it's different for everything. Every single emotion has its own frequency. Even food has its own frequency. And I've done this in clinical practice, where we've actually tested people on foods based on the frequency and how it resonates with their body. And we can get very, very specific to fine tune what their body is requiring.
Yeah, even sometimes food that appear, that for most people would think are healthy, like some vegetables and things, it's not for everyone. Depending on what the person is going through, maybe that certain vegetable is not the right choice because the body, there's something about it that it might not need at the moment.
And it became a fascination of ours, because we asked that same question. Why do things happen to us? Well, whether it's good or something that's unpleasant, why does this show up? Why does it happen? And when we started to understand more about how vibration works, how a law of attraction works, we really started to pay attention to cause. And all cause starts in thought first, meaning that we are thinking about something, and then the effect of that will start to manifest into our physical reality. Just like an idea or an invention, it always starts in a thought. Someone thought about it. I want to learn how to make things better. What can I do? And they get an idea, and it's like, oh, that's how I can do that. And they go to work on that. And eventually it comes into fruition, whether it's this microphone we're using, the camera, your cell phone. All of it started as an idea first, which is thought. And thought is always our cause.
So let's go to some of the comments here.
Let's go here.
So Stephanie says, can you speak briefly about vibration of healing stones if you can? Ooh, healing stones. I love stones, and we have some here in the background. And stones do have a certain vibration, a certain frequency. And, depending on if you're a healer, a lot of healers use them with, in their practice, or sometimes they'll be placed on people, and it's for a certain frequency that specific stone carries, and it emits a frequency that helps with a certain thing. So we even have a book, it's called the Crystal Bible, and it tells you what each stone is used for.
Mhm.
So like the rose quartz, it's the stone of love, and it emits a frequency that helps in in those areas of like maybe the heart chakra. So there's different things that stones that can be used for. Sometimes people will put stones into water. So you put the stones in there, and they have these certain containers that can be, they're not directly in the water, but they're like encapsulated, but it still emits a frequency that charges the water, and then you drink the water and people feel good when they drink it. So it's really interesting. They have so many different properties that can be used in healing.
Mhm.
And so we love stones, and I wear them a lot as well.
Yeah, it just, there's something pleasant about it that shows up when we get those. We like studying and understanding the different properties. They also look nice and very decorative. They're all people that use it for healing purposes.
I have a few here on my bracelet with all the different colors.
And you think about it, when if you're that person that's really into like healing stones, from amethyst to quartz crystals, anything, is like when you see it, when you hold it, you pay attention to how you feel with it. Does it bring a pleasant feeling, or does it bring a very negative feeling? And sometimes for people that might be healed by, whether it's a stone, whether it's a healing touch, a lot of times that there's a difference in frequencies. And we dabble this quite often. As Veronica is a Reiki master who does a lot of energy healing. I've come in from the health as a chiropractic and emotional healing. And I have found that when you, just by a simple touch or putting something near the body that overrides what might be going on inside, sometimes it can unleash an emotional response, because it's just the vibration of it, the frequency starts to shake things up. And it's like almost like it starts to detox all that's going on with inside us. And think about it, emotion, all the emotion that we carry has its own frequency. There's emotions that have a very high frequency, which would be considered like love, excitement, joy. And we call our low vibration emotions from like anger, jealousy, envy, fear. And when you look at those two combinations, is how can we shift our vibration? How can we shift our frequency to feel better, to be more happier? And the higher and the better the frequency that we're at, the better and more good we attract to us.
Yeah, so that's why it's very important to be aware of our thoughts and how we feel, especially.
Yeah, and so to finish the question from Stephanie is for about healing stones is, just look at the different properties of the healing stones. We don't have them all at the top of our head. That's why we have references to what does this stone represent, and it's very interesting. But it's also in the frequency of the healer that's applying the healing stones too. It's all in a lot of its intention and what you're using it for that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and they also have the stones to correlate with each chakra. So like this rainbow one that I have, it has like the red one for the root chakra, and then it works its way up. And sometimes the stones can be placed on all those chakras. And so I love stones, and they look beautiful. We have an amethyst right above us that I really enjoy, and they look beautiful, but they also provide good energy.
Yeah. I want to say hello also to Leroy Wicks, who's joining us from Iowa. He says, good to see you both. Good to see you here with you, Leroy. Too. And again, if you guys know anybody that can benefit from the show, feel free to share this show with them. And we're talking about the law of vibration. And so we look at frequency. What is that frequency? As we mentioned, vibration is the law of vibration. It means that everything vibrates and nothing rests. Meaning we're always moving, we're always changing. Our bodies are always changing. That's how we age. Even as we transition from this world, the body is still actually moving. And you would know that because hair still grows, and the decay process of food, anything, is a sign of there's something still moving. Otherwise, we would always look exactly the same. And it was interesting, we studied the work of Paramahansa Yogananda. And it was said that because he was such an advanced soul, advanced person, when he passed away, They said it was about a month. About a month after he passed, that he still looked exactly the same as the day he passed, with no signs of decay or anything.
Yeah.
Because he understood the laws. He understood how to raise his vibration enough to slow down that aging process. And it's and it's well documented. I've always find that fascinating.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting that, there's no decay or anything. So very interesting.
So we look at the vibration, and we're talking about attracting the things that we want, or avoiding attracting the things that we don't want. Because either way, we're always attracting something, and we attract it through our thought. It's like, what are we thinking about often? And our thoughts, again, have vibration. It has frequency, and those thoughts will make us feel a certain way. They're either going to make us feel good, or they're going to make us feel bad. And so we always talk about is pay attention to what you think about on a daily basis, your values, your belief systems, and all of that is going to determine how you see and perceive your experience around you. And it's like, you're going to go buy a new car. In fact, a few years ago, we wanted to get a new dog. This is before we have the dogs now, but we were in the process of wanting to get a new dog. And at the time, we were thinking about the French Bulldog.
Yeah.
We didn't want I had Bulldog in the past, and we didn't want a big dog, but it was like kind of in the middle. It was a small, medium-sized dog. And the more I started thinking about it, I just started to see them everywhere.
That's right.
Right. It doesn't mean they weren't there, but you just started to pay attention. Some call that
it was more in your awareness, right?
Yeah. It becomes in your awareness because now you're focused on that. Same thing with a certain car. But the more we think about something, the more we tend to see and perceive those attracting to our experience. So think about that. Is if you are thinking of everything good, all the things that you really, really want, then that is part of the equation. You start to see more of that. Maybe you start to see more of that on TV. You start to see experiences. But also you have to, when you talk about vibration and frequency, it's also about how you feel. And that is what gives it amplification and power. Yeah.
So that's why, paying attention to how we feel on a daily basis is so important, and paying attention to what things we're soaking in. So if you're watching movies that don't really make you feel good and you feel stress and tension, then maybe you should watch something else that makes you feel better, like something that makes you feel good. Or listening to music. Maybe after listening to music or during, like, you're feeling kind of angry. So maybe listen to something more uplifting. And it really has a huge impact. So especially in music, it's those words that are being repeated over and over. Really pay attention to what those lyrics are saying. It could have a good beat, but the stuff that you're repeating over and over in your mind, in your head, that's what's really getting ingrained into your subconscious mind. So think about that one.
My glass got shattered on a lot of different music that I used to listen to in the past. I'm like, wow, that's actually what the message is saying. And when it comes to music, because it sounds so good sometimes, is you can repeat the lyrics even just by thinking about it. It's like it's ingrained within your memory.
Yeah.
And by self-suggestion, you're constantly affirming those words into your subconscious mind. And it's interesting, and how many, when you see different music types and the types of people that listen to certain music, it's like, okay, look at vibration. Why is it that person, why do some people like certain music and another person doesn't like that music? Is because we vibrate, we resonate somehow with that frequency, the words, the beat. It's just something that's within us. Even if it's a very negative type of a song, there's something that might vibrate that says, "Ooh, I like that," for some reason.
Well, some people like the beat of certain songs, but then they don't really pay attention to the words. But and so you really look at the words, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that it was really about that. Or because our daughter years ago was, she liked a certain song, and we were listening to the words. We're like, oh my gosh, I wonder if she even knows what they're talking about. So we asked her, and then she's like, oh yeah, they're saying hi or something. And we said, no, that's not what they're saying. It's like they want to stay high. And she's like, oh, and then after that, she didn't want to listen to the song anymore because it had all this negative stuff to it. And so she really thought about it. She's like, I don't want to be listening to that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah. So think about when you talk about vibration, and we're talking about resonance and frequency, is I've heard with in pianos, piano tuners,
Mhm.
when they're going to tune it, they'll start to pluck some of the strings on the piano, and they can use like a tuning fork, and they can hit the tuning fork, and the frequency of that tuning fork will resonate with a certain key on the piano, and it'll actually start to vibrate. And that's really what music and sound is. It is vibration. It's the vibration of molecules that are transmitting through the ether, and we are able to pick up on those frequencies. And there's a lot of frequencies that we are unable to pick up on because of just the very high pitch or very low pitch, but we are able to pick up on certain frequencies. And so when you're able to resonate with that, it's like it creates resonance. So when we talk about hearing, this also resonates in your thought. Is when what you're thinking about and the feeling that in the vibration frequency that we are at in this present moment, we are resonating with certain people. We are resonating with certain situations or things that are coming to us. So look at our surroundings and pay very close attention to what's happening. And if it's things that are very pleasant, that you are really great for that experience, while you're in a great frequency. But there's something that might be off a little bit. Why do these people keep showing up? Why does this situation always keep happening? Well, we always have to go back into the cause, which is, what is our frequency? What's our vibration? Meaning, what are we thinking about, and what are we feeling, and what am I attracting into my life right now?
Yeah, because we attract everything into our life. Everything that's around us, we've attract that by the way we think and by the way we feel. So if there's something that you don't find pleasant that's in your life, really pay attention to how have you been thinking and feeling. And you can change that. You can, start thinking more positive, start feeling good every single day, and you'll see how things will change. But also gratitude is a very important aspect to that. There's so many different parts to it, but being grateful for what you have, even for the universe showing you, like, this is what you've been thinking about, and then you feeling and knowing, like, I've attracted this into my life. But being grateful for those things, and also for the circumstances that are unpleasant, because now it's the contrast in energy, and it's telling you, well, maybe this is something that you need to be healed from.
Yeah. I want to go to a few of the comments here. Joshua Bergerland, he's there. It's the miracle tone. Absolutely. Leroy says, blessings to you both. What a great calling, helping people heal and let go and live life fully, helping others on their very unique journey and path. Prayers to you both. Thank you, Leroy. And then Josh also says,
did you know that you can change the frequency of songs on your music device to change how it programs your brain? You can make your favorite hip hop, gospel, house music, and so on healing. Is that through adding those frequency sounds into the music? Because I did speak to someone that can do that. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, but adding the frequency to the song. I think that's what you're
kind of like a binaural beat or something like that, like those subliminals, like sounds and frequencies that go on. And anything's possible. It's like, okay, can we change the frequency a little bit? And he says, awesome. That's fun. And he says also, love you guys. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you so much.
It's been a while, Josh.
And so you brought up another point too. Is okay, well, if we become aware of a vibration, and we bring these concepts up because we like to bring it to your awareness. And when you become aware of, oh, that's how I might be attracting things. That's how things keep showing up. That's why I haven't been able to make the changes that I want, or this is how I made the changes that I've been able to make in my life. It's all because there is always a shift and change in vibration or frequency. Wherever you are right now, you resonate at a certain frequency, a certain vibration. And nothing's good or bad. It just is. But if there's things that we want to change, then we have to change our frequency. We have to change the dial. And that doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. That's why sometimes going into changing a new habit or trying to do something new, it seems very uncomfortable right now because you do not resonate at that frequency yet. But through repetition and practice, you start to change your vibration and frequency until your body, your consciousness has a new norm, and that becomes the new frequency that you're at. And you start to see a different experience in your life.
Yeah. And Stephanie has a question here. It's very interesting. She says, what about when family things repeat patterns? So like, I'm assuming like family, like dynamics where there's been patterns passed down from generation to generation. I think that's what you're talking about.
I think so. If we could clarify that a little bit more so we can help with that question. So if we talk about repeated patterns, and we talk about family, right? And we're talking about people for a second.
Mhm.
So let's just use people in general. So we have family, we have friends, coworkers, and etc. Is we have our own frequency and vibration, but everybody else has their own frequency and vibration. I have my own. Veronica has her own.
Mhm.
You guys have your own. And so if you start to notice being around certain people, and she says yes. Okay, so she's talking about repeated patterns. So what are repeated patterns? It's running the same frequency and vibration and pattern over and over again, and until we decide to change that. And these patterns can be good or bad.
And they're handed down from families because it's like, say, okay, this family was raised a certain way, and then they train, or they show their kids, like, this is how you this is how you are, this is how life, you raise your kids and things like that, and then it gets passed down. So, like, let's say spanking kids, like, that happened, or it probably still happens, and they discipline their kids by spanking them, and then it gets passed down from generation to generation. Or even abuse, like the mom gets abused by the dad, and then that's, the kids grow up, oh, that's normal, thinking it's normal. And things like that can be passed down, but it's up to the individual to decide whether they want to go in that direction or not. And they could see it as normal, but maybe feel like it, that's what was taught to me, but I don't agree with that. It's still something that they can change, and it's like a habit.
And that was your experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there has been abuse, from my grandparents, and then passed down to my parents, but I didn't want to be that way or live in that way, so I chose a different direction. But and also abuse can be shown in different ways. It could be verbal abuse and mental abuse. There could be so many different factors to that. But the physical part is, you still have a choice. And it is breaking a family passed down habit, because there's certain things, like, say, even eating, like families eat, oh, this is our tradition and we eat this every single year, or we eat this every day. That can be changed. Anything can be changed depending on if you really want to make that change, and you decide you want to make that change.
Yeah, but you have to be aware of that too, and say, when you get to choose. So here's an interesting question, because it shows up quite a bit when people are trying to understand this concept. Yeah. She says, so, well, you say we attract, so how do we control what others do?
You can't.
You don't. You don't control what others do, because they are in control of their own thoughts, their own emotions, and their own actions. Yeah. The only thing that you're in control of is your own thoughts and reactions, and how you feel on the inside. How
you feel about what they're doing. So it's, if someone else is doing something that you don't agree with or you don't like, there's something within you that's bringing up a trigger for you, and it's like, it's really creating some, like, emotional I guess chaos within your body. So it's like they're doing that, and it's making me feel this way, but it's like a trigger that's bringing up that emotion. So it's having to do that inner healing within yourself, and it takes practice, because it doesn't happen overnight. But unless something really shifts dramatically within you, but it's allowing them to be where they're at, and you accepting them where they're at, and not allowing them to affect you. So don't allow other people's behaviors and actions to affect how you feel on the inside, because you still have control of how you feel.
And I always have to look at, what does that represent to you? And because when we go through these experiences, there's going to be people that always show up in our lives that, they might do things or say things that don't resonate with us, or that may bother us. But the key lesson is how does it affect you? And why does it affect you in a certain way? Because someone can say something, and one person can be like, oh, not a big deal. They say that same thing to the next person. That person takes it so personally, it really shakes up their whole being. It can create anger, frustration. It can create all kinds of issues, like trust issues with other people. But it's all based on our past experiences and what that's bringing up for you. And here's what I understood. If you start to see certain patterns in your life show up over and over again, even if other people doing something, then that means there's something within myself that is attracting that situation. And I look at it as, wow, there's still something within me that needs to heal, because the universe is putting this in front of my face, and you want to change, you want to make big shifts in your life, then you need to heal in this area. And what is it that that message is trying to tell you? There's something you need to heal. Maybe you need to heal some anger, or you need to forgive somebody or something, because it's triggering emotion. And all that it is, it's stored emotion from past experiences that keep getting stirred up. And the moment you identify what that is and how to let that go, and this is the work that Veronica and I do with people on a deeper level, is we find that we don't get triggered by things as much anymore. People could say the exact same thing, and it's like, wow, that used to really bother me. Now it's like it doesn't faze me. And what's even more interesting is when you clear that out of your energy, your vibration, you don't see that much in that experience anymore. It's like you start to focus on something different, and you pay attention to what you want. But if you are always focusing, remember, this is how attraction and vibration works. If you're always thinking about that and what they're doing,
you'll see it.
You're going to see more of it.
Yeah. And an example, Erin and I, we have our daughter, she's now 13, but when she was younger, it would really make Erin angry when she would leave her shoes like under the table. And then sometimes she would leave to go to her dad's house, and then Erin's like, like she did it again, look at it. And then he would look at me, he's like, why aren't you getting angry? I'm like, it doesn't bother me. Like they're just shoes. They could be picked up, put in the room. Like it's not hurting me or anything, unless I trip and fall. But he was like, wow, like it doesn't bother her, then why am I getting angry about it?
It's like you try to involve them into how you feel.
Yeah. So then you did, your own inner work. And then after that, and my daughter would even hide the shoes purposely, almost to trigger.
Oh, really? Like just jab it right in there, right?
And then you cleared that whatever emotion was there. I forgot what it was related to, but
well, a lot of times it's what things represent. And in that situation, it represented like a feeling of disrespect. That person or she is disrespecting me. But that means that I might have an issue when I ever feel someone's disrespecting me. And where does that come from? That at some point in my life, some point in your life, if this is something that resonates with you, is there was a moment that was very not so pleasant, where you might have felt disrespect, and disrespect created all kinds of, negative emotion, whether that may be anger, hostility, whatever that could be. And it's like all that, it just keeps showing up again, but in a different form, in a different person. So you remove one person from your life, and then the next person is going to do the exact same thing in some way, shape, or form. Because again, you're bringing it into your experience. So for her, it was maybe that sign of disrespect, and it didn't like that. And I had to look at, all the different patterns in my life where I may have felt disrespected. And I allowed that emotion to come out.
For our daughter, it could have just been like a game. Like, I'm going to hide the shoes here and see if he finds them.
It was my perception of it. But then I realized, she's not picking up her shoes. You know whose shoes were right there on the floor next to hers? Mine. So she was doing the exact same thing that I was doing. She was picking up on my habits, and I'm getting upset because she's doing the same thing that I do. And it was just like a mirror reflection. And I have to look at that. And I still look at it today is, if we feel like others need to change, the first thing I always take a look at is, what do I need to change in myself first in order to help them? Because when your frequency changes, when your vibration changes within, you attract different people. In fact, the people that you consider unpleasant in your life, they just mysteriously just go away for some reason. And it could just be, hey, they got busy. It's not like anything bad happened, but it's like there's something that doesn't resonate. We don't match anymore. Yeah. And we attract different people, different situations, experiences in our life.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Like, I don't know how many people still have the same friends that they did in elementary or high school, junior high. And maybe you've been separated for years. Hey, Lauren, thanks for joining us. And, it's if you were to go back to, mingle with the same people you did years ago, it would probably feel awkward because you have changed so much. And, your frequencies are different, your energy is different, and the vibration that you're putting out is so different. But, and there might be other people that are similar, but it's just how your vibration is. People will come into your life. People will leave, and they could leave on good terms. It's just like we're just busy, and not that you had a falling out, but it's interesting to see that when you change yourself, people around you change as well.
Yeah, and it's like it might even help those that are around you, because they see you change, and it might spark something with them to want to change something with them. Oh, I want to be more like Stephanie. I want to be more like Steven. Because they are showing the behaviors that I would like to change within myself.
Yeah.
And so if you want others to change, you have to change yourself first.
Yeah.
So let's say hello to Steven anyway. He says, good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
He's coming in from
Steven.
Sarasota, Florida, USA.
Great to see you.
And he says, I don't think that's possible. I think he's talking about, how do we
changing others.
how we control what others
yeah.
do. Again, you don't control what others do. You control what you do.
Mm-hmm.
He says, sound frequencies affect our cellular structure and consequently our mood and our thinking.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely true. Think about it. We talked about music earlier, and think about when you listen to certain music. Some music makes us feel very calm, relaxing, and there's other music that really bumps up our adrenaline, like really hard rock, heavy metal music.
Yeah.
And it's like you can feel the energy within your body. And there's songs that can make you sad, songs that can make you happy, based on the tone and the frequency of it, and even the words.
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting. I want to say hello to Willie. He's joining with us. Thank you for joining with us. And then also Gil says, got here a little late, but still having a good morning.
Awesome.
Still keep having a good morning and having an even great afternoon and great day.
Yeah. That's awesome.
He says, I just want to be like the old Gil. And what is the old Gil and what's the new Gil? And so I hope the old Gil is very pleasant, but if you know what the old Gil is like, you want to be more like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can be like that.
Yeah.
Remember, we are in control. We can change anything that we want in our life, but as we control ourselves, we have to change the way that we think. Meaning we have to change our beliefs about certain things and question and really evaluate our life. And wow, does this belief that I hold on to, is this really true? That's a big question.
Yeah.
Is if you're thinking about something, is that true? And if you're not sure, you can research and look for the answer, because it's always about understanding and learning more. And the more we understand about ourselves, the more we understand how we create things in our life. This has just been our fascination over the last few years, is we wanted to understand more of this. So we study, we practice with it, we see it in our experiences, and it's like, wow, that was very fascinating. So that's how that's working. And we're always learning.
Yeah, and we've personally seen people just go away, like friends, that we've had for years, that kind of, not that there was a falling out or anything, but they just kind of went their own way. And then you think about it and it's like, wow, it's interesting to see that. And but yeah, so it's having that awareness of how you're feeling when someone else does something, how you're feeling when you hear certain music or what you're watching. It's like really have that awareness first, and then you could decide how you want to change as a person. Yeah.
And we've done this a lot with certain couples, or a person comes to us and they're having some issues in the relationship. And we find that the spouse or the significant other is bringing up a lot of triggers for that person. And they think that there's something wrong with our relationship. They're doing this, they're doing all that. And we come to find that there's still a lot of pain and a lot of hurt that they're hanging on to, that is coming from past experiences in their childhood. And the spouse is just another representation of that. And the spouse may not even know what they're doing. They might say something very pleasant. It can even be the person is being very loving and caring to that person. And that frequency vibration is very foreign and weird, because there are some people that have a hard time with accepting love in their life.
Because it's the contrast. They're feeling the contrast in energy. So it's like someone was raised without having hugs all the time, without people saying, I love you. So it was very cold. And then when they meet someone that's very loving and wants to hug, then they're probably like, oh, that's just weird. And because it feels weird to them, because it's a contrast in energy. They're used to being a certain way. To see that or feel that from someone else, it's like a contrast in energy. So it's like hot and cold, they're so different. And I want to go to.
So just going back real quick, I want to finish that story.
Okay.
Was when we were able to clear out all the emotional stuff that person was having, they found that their relationship actually started to improve. We didn't work on the other person. We just worked on helping to clear out all the emotion and the past behaviors and thinking. that was going on. But a lot of emotional healing had to be let go out of their nervous system first, because it is in your nervous system. When these triggers come up, it affects you at a physiological level. It affects every single cell of your body. That's why stress can cause dis-ease in many different forms based on what we hold on to. And every body part of our whole body represents something. And it's like, it can change.
And a stress could be a worry, a fear, any of those emotions that come up.
Okay, let's go to Stephanie. She's got some great questions here. So what about this virus and frequency? How do we go about life as normal and not be afraid to be around people?
Okay, so being afraid, like that feeling of fear, like that can really suppress your immune system when you're thinking about like, oh, am I going to get sick or things like that. That in itself can suppress your immune system, which in turn can possibly attract you to get sick. But it's that fear that creates that change in your body where it'll cause the suppression of your immune system. So it's like, it's a virus. So just take the precautions necessary. I'm not saying don't wash your hands and things like that, but continue to wash your hands and just keep doing the precautions, but avoid like all the fear and everything that's in the media. I know there's probably so many things out in the news that can frighten people. But the more fear you have, it's not good on the body.
Yeah, the more you listen to that, it's like it's being ingrained into your subconscious mind, and that's triggering up emotion. That's triggering all these things of fear, the what if scenarios. What if I get sick? What if this happens? Oh, they say that another person passed away today. But what about all the good? How many lives, how many people recovered from this virus? And it's like changing our point of focus. You say take the precautions, absolutely. And we're taking more precautions than we ever did in the past. And think about it. We are exposed to, they're everywhere. You can touch the table or your phone. There's bacteria, there's viruses, there's microorganisms that you just cannot see that are everywhere. You don't get away from it, but you have a body that is designed to live in these environments. In order for you to overcome, but in order to keep ourselves healthy, to prevent that from getting in, it's like what opened the floodgates? What opened the door to allow this in? Stress will do it. Fear, worry, anger, anxiety, that'll all open the doors. Lack of rest will do that. You gotta, then there's eating, exercise. I mean, the whole thing, but it really comes down to our thoughts and our emotions, which really can suppress everything. And it's like, just take your precautions, but be okay being around people. If you need this to keep your distance, it helps you, fine. But if you're in fear all the time, that's not a great vibration to be in. Because
Stephanie, she says she's a massage therapist and dance teacher. I need to pay rent on my business and pivot and trust. Trusting is always a good thing, and just know that, things are going to work out. And maybe this is the time where you can change a few things within the business, because right now there's so much change going on, and things are probably it's not going to be exactly the same it was before. But, you could do things a little different, and maybe you wanted something a little different in your life or in the business to maybe change it a little. So now's the perfect time to create that change.
I find sometimes when change like that happens, again, we talk about law of vibration, and this is where we're discussing how we attract certain things. And if you understand this, if I have a frequency, but we've been talking about this for a while now. If I have a frequency, I have thoughts, I have emotions, and that's the energy that I put out. And by law of attraction, I start to attract similar like experiences to me. And you just pay attention to what's around you, and you pay attention to your results in your life. So now if I have that frequency and I'm putting something out there, what do you think it's like when you have millions of people resonate at a similar frequency, putting it out to the world and the universe as a mass consciousness? Now we have like this huge satellite and like this power that's just pushing things out. And so the key thing is we have to learn how to get away from that frequency. It's what you talked about patterns before, is not fall into the same patterns and thinking of other people if it's not serving you very well. And what can I do within me to change my vibration, my frequency, the world that I live in? And that is a big part of it. Because we have to change this, but avoid getting caught up in the vibration and frequency of other people that might be bringing vibrations low.
Yeah.
And you're going to see, you don't get away from that, but you can choose how you react to it. That's the big key.
Yeah.
Willie says,
he says, belief is good. Growing in the belief is crucially important. Finding a new way to envision is the richness of belief. Yeah. And we have to find that new way to, to see ourselves, and how do we grow better as a human being. And, just, it's still a choice to choose to want to do that. And we all have the choice to better ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Gil says, I would love your help. How can I get in touch with you? If you want to get in touch with us, Gil, all you have to do is you can private message us here on Facebook, or you can email us at av@aaronveronica.com if you want to get in touch with us. But private message us here on Facebook and we can be in touch. Absolutely. A lot of comments coming in here. We got Tiffany that's joining with us. She says, Tiffany. Good morning, beautiful souls.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. And then Stephanie says, wow, so crazy. You can be physically safe, but need to be mentally safe is more important.
Yeah, our mind is so powerful, because that's what can create the disease in our body. If we're constantly in that stress, worry, fear, that will create, like Aaron said, the disease in our body. So the mind is so powerful, and we can change so many things with our mind.
And think about this. So you're a massage therapist. I'm pretty sure you've had an experience where you've had your hands on somebody and you're working through some tension. You find this huge knot or congestion and you push through, you feel it release. And that person starts to have an emotional response. Mm-hmm. And they're like, I don't know why I'm crying. I don't know why this is coming out. Mm-hmm. Because they are holding on to an emotion that now is manifested into a physical congestion, a knot, a trigger, tension in the body. It's tangible, it's real, they can feel it. And when you release that energy, that emotion comes out. We all carry a lot of emotion from our life that can get stored if it's not processed properly. And that can show up in behaviors, it can show up in our health, it can show up in injuries, so many different things, people in our life, but it manifests in some way. And we're not really taught how to deal with it. And this is when it's like we just understood, well, when we learn to deal with it, things start to make a shift and a change in our life. Mm-hmm. And it's very important because it is a real thing.
Yeah.
Let's go to Willie's.
Willie says, a new reality sparks change. Viruses will not cease. Our readjustment must not cease either. We just have to get smarter and wiser. Yeah. It's due, start reading books and get information, that's out there that, that you can fill your mind and know about different things, know about the body, know about the mind.
Yeah. It's studying and understand more. Willie says kind of private supplication and meditation garner a higher self-awareness. Then our vibrations of peace go forth to touch and encourage others. Yeah. So we're talking about how do we shift our vibration? How do we change that? We talked about letting go of emotion, but there's different things, and you brought it up earlier. And one of the things we could do, that's why the practice of gratitude becomes so important, is when we change our vibration, we can also say it in simpler terms, is we change how we feel. We change our attitude and our mood. And when we start to feel better, haven't you noticed that things just seem to get better? And so the practice of gratitude is one of the key steps that we all need to practice on a daily basis. And it's not just, I'm grateful for my life, I'm grateful for the air that I breathe and the sunshine, but it's like being truly grateful for all the things in your life.
Really feel that gratitude, right?
Yeah. Because they could just be words, but you have to really feel it. And, if I'm going to go back to Stephanie here, because there's a lot of people, especially in the health, that people are unable to work. They're just, some are now starting to go back, but could we be grateful that we can still be able to work, that you can still be able to help and heal other people? That's a blessing. They maybe didn't shut you down for a while. You were able to do what you need to do. And so there's there's an abundance of things that we can do to earn money and income, which is an even more grateful thing for us to do. Yeah,
so many different things. And I want to share something it's here also from the book, The Secret, that I read the inspirational moment earlier. It's an exercise. And it says, I would like to share a process with you that came from the great teacher Neville Goddard in a lecture he delivered in 1954, entitled The Pruning Shears of Revision. This process had a profound effect on my life. Neville recommends at the end of every day before you go to sleep to think through the events of the day. If any events or moments did not go the way you wanted, replay them in your mind in a way that thrills you. As you recreate those events in your mind exactly as you want, you are cleaning up your frequency from the day and you are emitting a new signal and frequency for tomorrow. You have intentionally created new pictures for your future. It's never too late to change the pictures. I like that exercise because it's like if there was something throughout the day that's maybe bothering you, and you know how people have trouble sleeping when there's something that maybe went wrong throughout the day and it's on their mind. Do that exercise and it should help to change that frequency, you know, that you're emitting in the moment, change it to something new. And that'll set the platform for tomorrow and the days to follow.
Yeah. And it's being mindful of that picture. You know, practice your gratitude. Be mindful of your thoughts. When you start to be creating these awareness exercises, is be mindful of what you think on a day-to-day basis. If you find yourself in like a worry or concern mode, just take note of that. Wow, I'm in this state of worry or fear, whether it's what's going on in the news, in the world, your business, your health, whatever that might be. It's like, wow, I'm now setting myself up in that frequency or vibration. And you learn to, I'm going to think something different. So you learn to think something more positive, something that's more uplifting for you. And you have to do that repetitively. And you do it over and over and over again until that becomes the natural thing for you to think about. And you catch yourself again. Will you slip and fall sometimes? Absolutely. But it's how quickly you get out.
Stephanie said that she didn't get the whole thing. She said, can you read that again? Sorry. So I'll read the part where he goes into the exercise. And this is by Neville Goddard. And this is from a lecture he delivered in 1954. And he says, he recommends that at the end of every day before you go to sleep, to think through the events of the day. If any of the events or moments did not go the way you wanted, replay them in your mind in a way that thrills you. As you recreate those events in your mind exactly as you want, you are cleaning up your frequency from the day and you are emitting a new signal and frequency for tomorrow. You have intentionally created new pictures for your future. It is never too late to change the pictures. So it's basically an exercise to think about what happened throughout the day. There was something that wasn't so pleasant, then you can change it in your mind with new pictures. And then when you do that, you're changing the frequency and setting up, a better tomorrow.
Yeah, because what would most people do, right? There's something that didn't go well or something right, and they dwell on that, and they feel bad, or I'm upset, or all right, well, I can't believe I didn't do that. I didn't follow through on something, and we feel bad. We go to sleep. Now that's the mental picture. And you carry that feeling and that emotion, that attitude into the next day, and it just trickles forward. So it's very important that what do you feed your subconscious mind before you go to sleep? And I've experienced this. It's like you think this message is just going to blow over. You're going to feel the exact same thing the next morning. So you want to practice that. Neville Goddard also wrote a very tiny book, and it was called "Feeling is the Secret." And that really, it's the secret behind the secret. It's not what we think, it's part of it, but it's really what we feel on the inside, which again gives power. It amplifies your thought, which attracts things even more to you or pushes them away. But either way, we're always attracting things. And it's like we have to change the way we think and feel on the inside, and we start to see a whole new world emit. But it also inspires us to do different actions. Just by sitting there and thinking about something doesn't always bring things to you. But if you want to make changes, you actually have to do something. Even just being aware and changing and doing these exercises of just changing your thoughts is an action step.
Yeah. And another similar exercise to this is when you wake up in the morning, visualize how you want your day to go and get excited for what's to come, for throughout that day, and just visualize it and get in that feeling of like, wow, like this is how my day is going, and it feels so good. So that's another, good thing to do starting your day.
Yeah. So as we start to understand, I hope that it's kind of been an aha and understanding more of what vibration is and how it works, how it affects things like the law of attraction, because it's all law. This means that it'll work here, it'll work on a different planet and a different solar system, because everything is always moving. And we can learn to change the vibration, but we change that within to start experiencing something new and different around us. And it's interesting is, I'll tell one last story before we get going today. In one of our last places, we were living in an apartment complex, and there was a couple that was living below us, and they were just constantly fighting. I mean, constantly, every single day. I can't know how many hours, but it was throughout the night. And just, you can hear the yelling and the screaming. It's like you can feel the uneasiness and the tension that was going down there. And the more we thought, oh, they're going to be fighting, and we kept thinking about it, or they're going to do it the next day. They just kept doing it. So we tried something different. We did an experiment. So we did an intention. We sat there every time we heard them fighting. We sat there wherever we were, closed our eyes, take a breath, and we just visualized this violet flame, full of love, full of protection. And we just sent it down into their apartment, just fill
their whole apartment.
Surround them. And it's like all this violet flame is burning off all the anger, all the negativity, and it's bringing in and allowing for love and compassion to come in. And all we just did that with a thought and an intention, just sending our good thoughts and energy. And what was fascinating, when we both did that together, within a couple minutes, they would stop fighting.
Yeah. It was just a couple minutes, less than 5 minutes, the fighting stopped. And we're like, whoa. And
so later on, they would fight again. We did the same thing.
Yeah.
We send the energy down there. A couple minutes later, they would stop fighting.
Yeah.
And it would be gone for a while. And then we were working on our own stuff internally and looking at what we wanted. We rather than, oh my God, our fighting can't be like this couple, we said, I wish the best for them. Yeah. Eventually, the wife left.
Yeah,
it was like completely quiet in the house.
A few months later, the wife ended up leaving. So it's just interesting how that happened.
And as we started working ourselves, like anybody that we can consider disturbing, they all moved away. Like everybody around our perimeter all moved out, and new people, better people moved in. And so that is the key in how powerful your thoughts and your vibration is. And you can change that. You don't control others, but you can change yourself, and everybody around you changes because of that. Yeah. And so it's very subtle. It's very practice with it, because people don't have to know that, but you can send good love and energy to them, and somehow they just start to feel better. But you practice with that because it's a fascinating exercise.
Yeah. So you can't change what other people do, but secretly you could probably change like the frequency that you're emitting to them. Like if they're doing something that's making you angry, it's only like feeding the fire. But if you send them love and, with your intention, send them love and just light, it's interesting how they might start to change. It's all depending on the person, but they will feel different. Yeah. And they might just go away because maybe it's too much contrast for them.
Yeah, but it all really comes down to when you start letting out and let go of your own stuff, all the old, hurts, all the old pain from the past stuff. When you heal within, everything will start to change without. Yeah. And we hope that's what's been happening for you while you guys watch this show, is giving you a sense of new awareness. Practice with these because it's worked for us. We know it'll work for you. And that's what Awakening Your Spirit is all about.
Yeah. And be that ripple effect, like send out the ripples of love and light to everyone around you. And, things will change.
If you guys have really enjoyed the show, make sure you share this for anybody that might benefit. Again, we are live here every Monday and Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. If you guys would like to join us on the show, we are live here on Facebook and also on YouTube. You can subscribe to the show you can subscribe on YouTube, and then both on Facebook and YouTube, turn on the live notification buttons so you never miss an episode. We are going to be going live on Facebook here on our @Aaron and Veronica page starting next Monday. And so if you guys aren't seeing Veronica going live, because it's at a different page, so we'll put out the reminders out there for you guys. Make sure you go to that page. Just type in @Aaron and Veronica, and make sure you like and follow us on that page. That way you never miss an episode that we're having.
Hey, Robert. Thank you for joining us.
So thank you guys for being here. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this episode today. And hope it's change your vibration, change your frequency, and let us know how that's making a big difference in your life.
And I will make a little video starting next Monday to let you know we're going to be going live on the new page.
Absolutely. Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Have a great day.
Bye. Just clicking buttons here. Bye, guys.